Well, thank you very much, and thank you to the Northern Miner and Canada House for putting this symposium on. When we think about Eastmain, we think about high-grade gold in James Bay, Quebec. And as the previous presenter mentioned, you need to be in an area where you've got a massive district. And what I can tell you is James Bay, Quebec is largely unexplored, but it is a massive mining district to be developed. I will be making some forward-looking statements this morning. So I've been with the company 3 years. We basically created a new management team from scratch, a new board, and we took on the assets and really revisited what Eastmain was all about, focused on key assets. In the last 3 years, we've accomplished a lot. We've advanced the main project. I'll cover that. Eau Claire, significantly advanced that project. But as well, we've made 2 new discoveries in a short period of time, and we're moving those forward. We're in a great jurisdiction, James Bay, not only because it's in Quebec, it's also supported by Plan Nord in the region, supported also with great infrastructure. There are roads, power lines, so great place to do business. We're actually the most aggressive junior in James Bay, and when I mean aggressive, I mean that we actually raise money, we actually put money in the ground, through exploration efforts, including drilling, and we are advancing our projects in a very significant way. When it comes to players in the region, there's really one other player of significance, and that's Newmont Goldcorp, who's operating the Éléonore mine. But they are mine operators. They're not doing much exploration. We are, as far as exploration, the most advanced company. So I'm going to talk about Clearwater, our main property with 2 assets on there, Eau Claire. Percival is a new discovery last November, and Éléonore South, which is actually a partnership with Newmont Goldcorp. When we talk about capital structure, we're on the main board on the TSX under ER. We're covered by 6 analysts. Their price target consensus based on our asset values is 79 cents. I believe our price as of yesterday is 11 cents. We have $4.7 million in the bank, so we're well funded for the rest of the year. And obviously a tough market to raise money in, but we've been able to do that and will continue to do so in a very conservative approach. Shareholders, we're very heavy on the retail, 72% on the retail side. That has hurt us in this market with, focus on other trends like battery metals, cryptocurrencies, cannabis, and on and on. We do believe that gold investors, retail investors, will come back to the market eventually. It's just a question of time. But when it comes to institutional and corporates, fairly well supported by some very known funds. You guys would know most of these funds that are listed there. At the top is Eldorado. That's a bit of a unique investment. It's a passive investment for them. This is from the result from them acquiring Integra about 2 years ago. They acquired Integra. Integra, when I took over Eastmain, they decided to do a strategic investment into Eastmain, which was a little unusual. From a junior to a junior, but then their position ended up flipping into the Eldorado portfolio. So again, that's a passive investment. And insiders, we've been buying in the company on a regular basis. I'm the 8th largest shareholder, and I continue to buy in the open market or through financings. So let's talk about the projects themselves. You see on the bottom, Clearwater, the 2 stars. The gold star is Eau Claire itself, and then the red star is the new discovery Percival, which is 14 kilometers away. To the north, about 50 kilometers north, is the Éléonore South joint venture, and that's a joint venture with Newmont Goldcorp, and we have a discovery there as well. Okay, so 3 different projects advancing different stages. So let's talk about Clearwater and Eau Claire. good infrastructure. We've got road access right into the project. We've got a power dam, so hydroelectric facility, 18 kilometers away that we can tap into once we decide to run the power line. And excellent location. And then you see Percival, which is on the same property on Clearwater as well, more on the east side. So we ran a PEA. When I took over 3 years ago, we had 200,000 meters drilled in the deposit. I decided that was enough. We needed more infill drilling. We did another 100,000 meters, so 300,000 meters in total. We came out with a brand new, more conservative resource, 1.375 million ounces, all categories. That's what's at the top of the slide. And then we decided to proceed and do a PEA. The PEA was issued 1 year ago, and the results are there. I won't go through all the details, but essentially, net present value at $260 million, the IRR 27%, payback 3 years, low capex $175 million. So we're looking at a 12-year mine life. We're looking at a high-grade open pit to start for 3 years and then underground for 9 years. The high-grade open pit is at 3.78 grams. So this will be one of the highest grade open pits in the world when we decide to start mining it. And then we proceed again with the underground after that. So it's not meant to be a big mine. It's a discrete deposit. It's open at depth though. So mine life extension, definitely. But we're looking at 1,500 ton per day, about 86,000 ounces a year. We think that by feasibly study time, we'll get to about 100,000 ounces on this deposit. So highly profitable, nice, small, manageable Canadian mine. This shows actually kind of the ore body on the right there, right from surface, the two small pits, and then going underground with the ramp, open at depth, as I mentioned. But on the left is the distribution of the tons and ounces per 100 meter slice as you go vertically. And what you see there is the top 600 meters right from surface is extremely well drilled, so we understand that. And then below that, the bars are shorter simply because we don't have the spacing. Spacing to come eventually, we'll drill that off so we can add ounces in those levels, meaning from 600 meters to 860 meters or so. So lots of potential, again, for more ounces within the deposit and then open at depth, as I mentioned. So what's our plan? This is about a 2 to 3 year outlook on what we're doing. So in 2019, obviously we're doing baseline work, we're doing some engineering, a bit of permitting, and moving a little heavier next year with some of the expansion drilling, but then the rest moving towards permitting and feasibility study ultimately in later 2021, a build after that, and then production late 2022 is the target on this asset. But I do want to talk about what we're doing moving forward. So I mentioned we're doing some, pre-development activities, getting ready to add to the feasibility study ultimately, including looking at ore sorting and other technologies like that. But really, we've got an exploration vision, and through that effort, particularly the property-wide satellite targets that we targeted last year, we did a lot of work on that, and we ended up started drilling on our favorite target on the property last year called Percival, and sure enough, we made a significant discovery. We've been growing that discovery since. So you see Eau Claire on the left side or west side, and then Percival is along the Canard Deformation Zone, about 14 kilometers away. It is on what we call the KS horizon, the Night Serendipity horizon, which is a geological feature. It's actually a ridge in the field. And we decided to do some soil samples, some grab samples, outcrop samples near Percival. And sure enough, we had some great results. We decided to bring a drill there, start drilling, and we made a discovery. After the first 10 holes late last year, and we now have 27 holes on the discovery, but after the first 10, we decided to run a VTEM, so an flown electromagnetic survey, because the gold is associated with pyrrhotite, and we said it should come up, and let's look at what this KS horizon looks like, and this is what it looks like. So you see clearly what's pink is fantastic, what's red and orange is really good. So you can see that's the whole horizon, 14 kilometers. We're just at where the star is, Percival. And what we decided to do after the 27 holes is stop at Percival temporarily, do exploration, so field work, so more sampling along that 5 kilometers. So that's currently going on for the next couple of months. Then we're going to come back in early August with a drill and hit probably the 3 or 4 favorite targets along that 5 kilometer and try to identify matching mineralization to Percival. If we do that, then we know we've got a massive system. So that's a step that we're taking now after having expanded on Percival. So that's what Percival looks like. I won't get into too much detail, but it's basically hosted in sediments. It's sulfides, but non-refractory up to now, from what we can tell. And we hit some great hits. If you look at these two right here, on the bottom right, these were the initial discovery holes, about 2 grams over 80 meters at surface. So very significant. And then we followed that with some step outs. And the more we keep on stepping out, we keep on hitting mineralization, particularly to the east or to the right. So that's very exciting. Three mineralized structures identified. Okay. And lastly, I'd like to talk quickly about our last project, which is Eleanor South. So this is a joint venture that's been in place with Goldcorp originally, now Newmont Goldcorp, for over 10 years. And it's been off and on over the years, but more recently, when I took over, we reactivated this joint venture, decided to focus on one area, which is where the red oval is, and we actually made a discovery. The discovery is about 15 kilometers in a straight line to the Eleanor mine. The Eleanor mine at the top there is producing currently around 350,000 ounces a year. They've had some serious challenges since they started the mine in 2014. They're trying to make a lot of improvements. Unfortunately, they overbuilt the mill, 7,500 ton per day. They barely are able to feed 5,000 ton per day to the mill. So they've got, let's call it 2,500 ton per day of capacity in that mill, and they're looking for any deposit, satellite deposit nearby, and sure enough, we made a discovery meanwhile. So with them as partners. So we're operators, 36.7% operators of this joint venture, and the discovery is significant. This is the oval is 1.5 kilometers long by 1 kilometer wide. High grade, medium grade, low grade, massive gold system. We need to do more drilling to advance it to a resource, to eventually, for us, obviously monetize this. This will become a satellite of the Eleanor mine. So to wrap up, we've got plans to work on these 3 projects, move them all forward. Obviously, we're being conservative and trying to conserve cash as much as possible in this market, but we have some excellent projects, so we need to advance them, and we're doing that. And as a value proposition, we're in a great jurisdiction, available infrastructure, high grade on all 3 projects, good district potential, and we're extremely undervalued as everybody else, and a great opportunity to obviously invest at this stage in these kind of assets that have real ounces in the ground. Thank you very much.